Hey guys, welcome to my third place Greece Electrodeity deck profile. I also came top 8 in France with this exact same deck. As you can see, I played Katana World, and the buddy was Electrodeity of Light Amaterasu. So the reason I buddy Amaterasu is because it is searchable. Amaterasu, I think, is probably the best size 3 in this deck. It has 2 abilities. At counter speed, you can either gain a gauge, 8,000 power and double attack, or draw a card, 2 life and 4,000 defense. They're both really strong. The gauge basically means you always have 2 gauge every turn, so you can always call a new size 3 Electrodeity from your hand, or a Kitabuki as well. Also, the double attack may give you access to offense, but most of the time you're using the 2 life and draw because it gives you its draw power, it's life gain, so you sustain, so you don't die. And it's really strong on your opponent's turn because 12,000 defense is really hard to hit over in the current format, especially without link attacks. And if you're forcing link attacks, you're plussing. So amazing card. Next up, I play 4 copies of Electrodeity of Water Mizunohame. I think people are sleeping on this card. Most decks I see only run between 0 and 2. I run 4 because I cannot think of a single situation, or I've certainly never encountered one, where I had this card and I was annoyed. This card's always really good. So you can, again, counter speed. You can either rest a monster on your opponent's field and gain 2 life, or return a monster to your opponent's hand and burn 1. I'll clarify, you must return the monster to your opponent's hand to do that 1 burn, so you can't just use it and burn and not return a monster to hand. Whereas with the first effect, you can rest nothing and still gain the 2 life, because it's not the 2 life is not conditional on the resting. Yeah, this card is amazing. It's got 8,000 defense, which is surprisingly good. A lot of things can't hit over it. You can actually force link attacks on this. And it's really good because when you rest a monster with like double attack or triple attack, it often means your opponent actually can't hit your 12,000 defense Amaterasu. In addition, when you return them, you can in the mirror you can just bounce their size 3 Electrodeities back to hand, and then that sucks for them. So yeah, it's all around just a really good card. Next is 3 copies of Unruly Electrodeity Susanoo. I hate this card. I only run it because I have to. It's really good in certain matchups. For example, when you need to go for the kill, you need to close a game, like against Godpunk, it's good. Or against battle buildings, you can clear all their set spells and their item, also very good. But generally speaking, I only run this because I have to. Obviously, if you get it off, you get your triple attack, penetrate, 10, 3, 4. That is good. That is obviously good, especially if it's your item, because then they can't destroy it. But when you use the effect, because it's not at counter speed, you pay your life, and then your opponent has a counter timing to do whatever they want to it. So they can use a Dragger Trap, and now you can't attack with it. Or they can rest it, or they can return it to hand. Or if you've called it to side, then they can destroy it. There's too many outs to this card, in my opinion. I'd much rather be on any of the other 2, except when I'm trying to close that game. Then it's great. Next, I play 2 copies of Shuten Demonic Deity Kid Ibuki. This is really good against everything that is not the mirror match, or Godpunk, because Godpunk can drop it and the mirror match can bounce it. Everything else, it basically just gives you a free turn to plus off your Amaterasu. Your opponent can't kill you, and at the start of your turn, you destroy all monsters on your opponent's field and deal damage to your opponent equal to the number of cards destroyed, which is a nice little bonus. Really nice card that basically just buys you a turn. Next is 3 copies of Guardian Electro Beast Goryu. This card is a size 2 Darabaric, so it should need no explanation, but when it enters the field, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to hand, drop the other 2. It's a strictly better draw 1. The only reason I don't run 4 is because you can hard only call once per turn. You cannot call more than 1. Next, I play 4 copies of Electro Beast Emissary Otora. Again, this card is just an on-call if you have another Electrodeity gauge and draw. Some people buddy this card, but it's not searchable, so I buddy Amaterasu instead. Next, I play 3 copies of Kagura Bell of Worship. Not most people, everyone plays between 3 and 4 from what I've seen. I prefer 3 because after you see the first one, in 99% of cases, every subsequent one is a dead card. And I don't want dead cards. That's why I run 3. Next, I play 4 copies of Miracle Fighters. This is the best searcher in the deck. It searches for all your size 3 Electrodeities, and it searches for your item. This card is amazing. There is a reason it is the most expensive triple rare in the set. Yeah, it's just, I don't have enough good things to say about this card. It fixes your hand so consistently. It just makes the deck run. Next, I play 4 copies of Electrodeity Festival. This card searches for item or counter speed restand any Electrodeity on your field. I run 4 because if I already have an item, it's never a bad card to have because I can just get an extra attack. So it's always good. Next, I play 4 copies of Kagura Electrodeity Welcome. This card is insane. 1 life, put the top 3 cards of your deck into your gauge, and then look at your gauge and add 1 to hand. So, you have to have an Electrodeity on the field, which is the only downside. So, 2 major things. This is basically a strictly better, it's hero time, and also, it's insane. So let's say you cast this first turn, you just filtered through 5 cards to find 1 that you need. It is insane. You also get gauge off of it. Like, it's such a strong card. Arguably the strongest card in the deck. Next, I play 4 copies of Ceremonial Execution of Divine Punishment. This is your kind of loud voice. When you cast it at counter speed, you can either reduce all cards on your opponent's field by 3000 power, 1 critical, and 3000 defense, or destroy a set spell or item on your opponent's field. This card's really good because you're forcing link attacks, you basically just remove 6000 power from that link attack, which means like 90% of the time they're not hitting over your 12k base, and when they are, you also reduce the crit by 2, and if you cast a second one, they're just not hitting you. So this card's amazing. On top of that, you can also destroy items or set spells at counter speed, which is really, really good against, for example, Mobile Aerial Team, where when they equip their size 3, they don't have any souls. So you can just destroy it, and a lot of the time, they actually just can't do anything after that, and that can win you the game a lot of the time. The only downside is you have to have an item with soul, so it's really dead against certain matchups. Godpunk, mainly. Next, I play 4 Ceremonial Water Mirror. It's just a slightly worse green Daily Dragon Shield. This card's good. You gain 2 life, it keeps you alive. Yeah, good card. Next, 4 copies of probably the most broken card in the deck, Demon Way Sakura Fubuki. This is a 2 life spell null. Yeah, so in combination with Amaterasu, which is gain 2 life and draw a card, basically Amaterasu pretty much just reads spell null for free, which is insane. This card is basically free in this deck. Like in no other time in Katana World's history have you been able to open 2 of these, use them without a problem, without a worry, and then heal up to 20 life by the end of the game. Card is absolutely insane. It's your out to most situations. Next, 3 copies of Futon Tengu Draft. This is a meta call primarily. It stops FTKs. Most FTKs nowadays rely on you having a null that is attribute reliant, so you need to have something on the field. So this kind of deals with that. But also, you can disrupt your opponent by returning their size 1 or less to their hand, or return your own Otora to hand, which will let you gauge and draw again. This card's really strong. Really like it. Next, I play 3 copies of the nice one that instead draws 3. No explanation here, it's amazing. 2 copies of Electrodeity Return. This card is awesome. It just keeps you going. So if you don't have any size 3s or any size 0s or Goryu or item in hand, it just fixes that. It's really good for recovery late game. It's good early game because you can charge a card that you need, but then just pay that gauge and get something else from drop that you also need. Super strong card. Really like it, but I don't think you need more than 2. Next, 2 copies of Wind Arc Deity Uekizuji. This card's really good against, specifically, it's good against basically everything, besides cards that like cannot be destroyed, obviously. But specifically, it's amazing against Mobile Aerial Team and against Dreadity, because it outs Loud Voice, and against Mobile Aerial Team, you just keep popping their item, and there's literally nothing you can do. And in combination with the Oni Assassin Impact Eerie Wailings, super good card. The burn is just a nice bonus. The only downside is you have to have an item with soul. 2 copies of Water Technique Mina Wagakushi. This is primarily for the mirror, because if you bounce your opponent's item, they get really far behind, or you go really far ahead. and usually win the game off of that. But it's also just a generally good card. It's useful in a lot of matchups. And finally, for the main board, I play 3 copies of Dark Skill Eerie Wailings. One of them I borrowed, so 3 copies. This card is a pure meta call. When I top 8'd in France, a lot of people were taking Hero World. This is good against basically everything in Hero World. It's amazing against Mobile Aerial Team. In my testing, it made the matchup go from 90% in favour of Mobile Aerial Team to 90% in favour of Electrodeity. It's really good against Cosmoman. It's not bad against Battle Buildings. It's really good against Folktale. It's really good against Satsuki G in both Satsuki and also Thunder Empire Fang. So it's just an amazing card. Unfortunately, in France, there was no Hero World. In Greece, there was no Hero World. I did play round 1 against the only Folktale in the tournament, so I liked it then, but after that, it wasn't great. It never ended up bricking me, though. But yeah, this card is good. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't have mained it, but yeah, great card. Finally, onto the sideboard. So in my sideboard, I played 4 copies of Loyalty. This was for a few specific matchups. It was against Godpunk, so they couldn't Zeus loop me. It was against Folktale, so they pretty much couldn't do anything. And it was also against Link Dragon Order, in case they attempted to loop me. There were 3 copies of Obstruct. This was if I was going into Game 2 or Game 3 in the mirror match, and I knew I was going first, then I would side in Obstruct, so I could do all my draws, and then during his turn, I could just Obstruct them, and then they can't do anything. It's also just generally like a pretty good card. And then finally was another meta call that kind of paid off, not really. It was Chest Break. This was mainly against, it was pretty much exclusively for Battle Buildings because I was quite scared of that matchup. But it turned out that no one at Greece took Battle Buildings, so it never ended up mattering, except in my 3rd, 4th playoff where I played against Demon Lords, so yeah, I ended up chest breaking him and winning game 2 off of that. And that was sideboard. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. That was my deck profile. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks.